And now we get to the part of the Troubles called the Bloody. In March 1972, direct rule was set up because the British Prime Minister, who was called Edward Heath at the time, he said that Northern Ireland can no longer rule itself. Britain is going to take over. The Parliament in Northern Ireland is called Stormont Parliament, but that was suspended. That means they were no longer going to rule. They could no longer do anything. And direct rule from Westminster, and Westminster is the Parliament in London, was going to commence from the 30th of March 1972. So what they did was they set up a Northern Ireland office called the NIO at Stormont under what is called a Secretary of State. That means a minister for Northern Ireland, and he was called William Whitelaw, but he was controlling Ireland from London. So no longer independent rule in Northern Ireland because of the Troubles. On top of the direct rule, the British also sent 4,000 extra troops into Northern Ireland, so that all the barricades that had been set up in between the Catholic areas and the Protestant areas, the troops, they were going to dismantle. That means to take or put down the barricades. The next step was on April 10th, 1973. The British government, they said to Northern Ireland, or they set up a law or a bill in Westminster, that is in London. They said, listen, Stormont, you have to share the power between all the political parties in Northern Ireland. So they made a law saying that a power sharing assembly has to be set up. And then on November 21st, 1973, an agreement was reached between the political parties to set up a power-sharing assembly. Okay, now it gets really complicated, so I won't go too much into detail with the next thing, but the Irish question now in December 1973 was to set up a connection between Northern Ireland and the Republic, so that the Republic of Ireland could have some kind of contact with Northern Ireland, so that the separation between Ulster or Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland would be less strict. And of course this led to more trouble. So on May 14th, 1974, Northern Ireland, the Workers' Council in Ulster, they just started a strike that lasted for 2 years, and it destroyed the economy in the province. They simply did not want to have anything to do with the Republic of Ireland. And what happened? Protestants celebrated across the province when they actually destroyed the power-sharing experiment. So now we're back to the Troubles again. Now something really bad happened. March 1st, 1981, hunger strikes started because the leader of the IRA, who was sitting in the Maze prison, he began a hunger strike because he wanted to protest against this the good agreements that they had actually won, and the power sharing things that the British had tried to set up, and the protection of the Catholics. All the protection of the Catholics ended with the Protestant strikes. And what happened was that Bobby Sands, who was the leader of the IRA, and other imprisoned Catholics, they saw themselves as prisoners of war, and they were treated as criminals, and they were interred in prison without trial. And then what happened on October 3rd, 1981, Bobby Sands and 10 other Republican prisoners had starved themselves to death. And this had a huge psychological impact on the Republican movement. And remember, the Republican movement is the freedom fighters from the Republic of Ireland. Somehow the hunger strikes helped lead to peace because the public sympathized with the hunger strikes because so many people died. And then at the same time, Sinn Féin, the political wing of the IRA, had grown more mature. They realized we have to do something different. We can't go on bombing and putting or doing terrorist attacks. So the IRA or the Sinn Féin, the political party, because the IRA is the army and Sinn Féin is the political party, they had talks with the British government and said, we are no longer going to do any military action. And then they had secret contacts between the Sinn Féin, the SDLP, which is the Social Democratic Labour Party, and the British and the Irish governments. And finally, in 1995, the Republican and the Loyalist paramilitaries announced ceasefires. A ceasefire means that you stop firing or stop shooting. Remember, Republicans are the ones who want to have an independent Ireland, and the Loyalist paramilitaries, a loyalist means you want to stay loyal to the Queen of England or to the British government. That was it.